In the 2023 year after the end of the world, people survive as best they can.
Let go.
Hello everyone, Movie Jack is in touch and this is a short retelling of the 8th episode of the zombie series One of Us, filmed based on the legendary game ZE Last of Us. For some reason, YouTube does not miss this series in my performance in an extensive river and there are few views, but I will finish it anyway. But I would like you to support this video to the maximum with likes and comments, so that the video will fly into the recommendations of as many people as possible. To do this, slap a like and most importantly, be sure to write any comment, smiley face, thank me or anything else, it will greatly help the promotion of the video. And as soon as the retelling gets 1,000 likes and 100 comments, I release a sequel. Enjoy watching. At the Silver Lake Survivor community, leader and pastor David reads Revelations to the group. He notices that the younger parishioner Hannah is crying, and her mother Joyce is comforting her. He finishes the sermon addressed to her and expresses his condolences. Hannah asks when they can bury her father, Alec. After exchanging a glance with his lieutenant James, he replies that the earth is too cold and they will wait until spring. Outside, he asks James how much venison, moose, and rabbit meat they have left. James warns that they will only be able to survive on rations for a week, although some scouts have noticed deer in the mountains. David asks if James doubts his leadership. James swears allegiance to David, and they decide to go hunting. Ellie examines Joel's newly stitched wound and tries to give him water and food, but Joel remains unconscious. Hoping to get him some more food, Ellie goes hunting with a gun. After failing with the rabbit, she manages to fatally injure the deer, but it runs away before she can get to it. James and David find a deer carcass and decide to take it, but Ellie stops them at gunpoint. David offers to exchange the deer in whole or in part for something from the city, after Ellie asks for medicine. David instructs James to return to the city for penicillin and suggests that they should wait in the nearest ruins and build a fire. While they wait for James to return, David tells Ellie, who refuses to give her name, that before the outbreak of the epidemic, he was a math teacher, but found God and became a preacher. After the fall of the Pittsburgh KZ in 2017, he and some others left and created their own community, which he now heads. He is of the opinion that everything happens for a reason. As proof, he says that some time ago he sent a group to investigate a neighboring town, but one of them, Alec, Hannah's father, was killed by a madman who was traveling with a little girl, revealing to an alarmed Ellie that he knew who she was. James, who has just returned with the medicine, overhears this and rushes at Ellie with a gun, but David orders him to back off and give her the medicine. Ellie takes it and runs away, leaving James angry that they just let her go, knowing that she killed Alec. Ellie returns to the house and injects penicillin into Joel's wound, after which she goes to sleep next to him. In the kitchen at Silver Lake, Joyce is helping to cook dinner when a man, Josiah, appears with chopped meat, which he says is venison, and Joyce cooks it without a doubt. James and David come with venison. David reports that they have found a girl who was with the man who killed Alec, and declares that he will lead a group to find them and bring them to justice. Hannah screams that he should kill them both. David calmly approaches her and unexpectedly slaps her in the face, telling her to show him respect as the father of the community. Then he sits down to eat with the rest of the community. Most of the community eats vigorously, while James and some other men show reluctance. The next morning, Ellie injects another dose of penicillin to the still comatose Joel, and then goes outside to feed the horse. Noticing an alarmed flock of crows in the distance, she sees a search party led by David. David tells James that after they deal with Joel, they will bring Ellie with them. James doubts this, as Ellie may become another nursing mouth. David replies that she will die if left in the wild, to which James assumes that it is God's will. Ellie returns to the basement and will be Joel. She gives him a knife and explains that she will take David's men away, but Joel will have to defend himself if they get to him. Ellie gets on a horse and fires a warning shot at David's men, then drives off. James manages to kill the horse, sending Ellie flying. James and the other men surround the stunned Ellie, and they incite James to kill her. They are interrupted by an exasperated David, who orders James and another man to return to the settlement with him, and the others can search the houses in search of Joel. However, Joel manages to regain enough strength to ambush and kill Josiah when he enters the basement. Ellie wakes up in a cage in Silver Lake. David tells her that everyone wants to kill her, but he can protect her by offering her a new life with him. Joel knocks out 2 other men, Timothy and Mark, and ties them up in the house. He brutally tortures Timothy, demanding information from him about the whereabouts of Ellie and the settlement. In the end, Timothy says that this Silver Lake is a former resort that they captured. Joel forces Timothy to point out a place on the map, threatening that Mark will have to point to the same place. Timothy does so, but Joel kills him anyway, honestly noticing Mark that he believed him before killing Mark. Ellie tries to find a way to get out of the cage, but is horrified by what she sees on the floor. David arrives with food for her, but notices that she is looking at a human ear. David admits that the city resorts to cannibalism, although most residents do not know about it. He claims he's only doing what he needs to do to protect his community, just like Joel tried to protect Ellie, and indeed just like cordyceps is spreading. He tries to convince her to join him as the leader of the settlement, telling her that she has a cruel heart and therefore she is his equal. Realizing that there is something dangerous in his words, Ellie pretends to be interested only to break David's finger in an attempt to take his keys. Suddenly overcome with rage, David changes his mind about sparing her, declaring that they will give her to the city instead. Joel stumbles upon a Silver Lake. Noticing a trail of blood, he follows it to the city meat warehouse, where he finds Ellie's backpack and the remains of their horse. Having initiated him into the room, he is horrified to discover human remains hanging like meat. James and David pull Ellie out of the cage and prepare to kill her with a meat cleaver, but Ellie declares that she is infected. David puts down the cleaver and discovers a bite on her hand. Taking advantage of the fact that they were distracted by the discussion of the bite, Ellie grabs a cleaver and kills James, and then, narrowly avoiding David, discovers that the doors from the building are locked. David takes the cleaver out of James' body and follows Ellie into the dining room. She throws a piece of wood at him, which, narrowly missing, sets fire to the curtain, and the fire begins to spread slowly through the room, while David walks around, teasing her and threatening her more and more. Ellie stabs him with a knife, forcing him to straighten the cleaver, but he regains consciousness and kicks her while she is lying on the floor. He restrains her and prepares to sexually assault her, but Ellie manages to grab a cleaver and brutally kill him. Traumatized, Ellie stumbles out of the burning building, where Joel meets her. Joel comforts her by calling her baby by the same name he used to call Sarah. Together, hand in hand, they leave Silver Lake.